on.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hi. Thank you for joining on time. I see some familiar faces. I see Kak Andrea. Hi. I see Kita. Oh my God, I miss you guys. so, thank you so much for coming on time. We still have some people joining us. But first, I would like to welcome you as the JPAC representative. And after this, we will have the admin team share a bit about how the class will be conducted. And after that, of course, we'll go to Andrea, who will facilitate the acting session. So first of all, welcome. My name is Raka. I am the program manager for the Triple Threat Academy. I will speak in Bahasa Indonesia a bit first. Kalau teman-teman butuh bantuan interpretasi bahasa Inggris, boleh tekan tombol interpretation di bawah layar, lalu tekan tombol Indonesian buat terjemahan live dalam bahasa Indonesia. Okay, I will continue in English now. So this program came to be thanks to the collaboration of U.S. Embassy Jakarta, the Arts Envoy program, the Canvas project, and of course, all the facilitators we have with us throughout this 3-month stretch. So as a representative from JPAC, I'd like to share a bit about how this program came to be. So basically, in JPAC, we have always wanted to be a place for people to learn about performing arts and to be empowered to use their performing skills to do good in their community or even for themselves. So throughout my 5 years in JPAC, for the last 5 years, it's been such a great honor to have received so much from JPAC and the community and the people. And it's a great privilege for me to help facilitate this session for everyone here, so that hopefully you can learn a lot, you can make new friends, and of course that you can have fun for these 3 months. And for tonight, we will have the first session for the acting, which will be held generally on Thursdays. There's a slide update, and I will share with everyone in the group after this. But this is such a rare opportunity that you can learn from such a celebrated Broadway artist, Miss Andréa Burns here. So please make the most of it. Please like listen carefully and like absorb everything you can, because this is a great way to learn that maybe we cannot get every day here in Indonesia. So of course, if you have any further questions or concerns, you can always ask the admin team or reach out to me personally. And basically, that's it. We also have other great programs in singing, dancing, advocacy, and entrepreneurship. So if you are interested in those, we are still accepting signups. So you can check out the sign up links we've shared on the WhatsApp group. So you can be a truly triple threat artist. Yeah, basically that's it from me. And I will pass it on to my admin, Nabila. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nabila, and I'm one of the admins for Triple Threat Academy. And before the class starts, I'd like to remind you about a few things. First of all, if you haven't already, please rename your Zoom username to the name you used for the sign up. Please kindly turn your microphone off when not speaking, and please turn on your camera when possible. If you have any questions, please write your questions on the chat box first, unless otherwise instructed by the facilitator. Please keep all chats and interactions respectful and safe for all ages. And for the complete class rules, please check the link for the TTA rules, and I will attach it in the chat box. Also, don't forget to fill the presence form that I will give out almost after the class ends, and before the class ends, sorry. And you can also turn on the interpretation feature down below. If you have any questions or concerns, please direct message the admin team. Thank you for your attention. Without any further ado, please welcome our facilitator, Andrea Burns.
Hello, everyone. I'm very, very excited to see you all. Hold on, I want to go to gallery view here so I can see all of your faces. Thank you for having me and for welcoming me into the Triple Threat Academy, and a special thanks to JPAC for inviting me. So I want to share with you that over a 3-decade career in this business, that I have had the privilege and pleasure of being able to call myself a working actor. There is a work ethic that is involved. I think sometimes that we sit in the audience and we think, oh my gosh, look at that person and they're doing all this great stuff, and wow, it just must be so easy and it's effortless for them. And the truth is, like anything else, it requires practice, it requires research, it requires discipline. And acting seems to be one of the really elusive, excuse me, that's the word I was looking for, forms, because so much of it just comes from, a lot of it comes from instinct and what's inside of us, but also there are certain tools that we use to make it doable and practical. So my hope as we're working on all of this is to demystify this for you. It's not that actors get up and they suddenly have some kind of special magic, right? They have tools that they use and skills that they acquire to be able to do the magic that you feel when you're sitting in the audience, right? And we'll get to more of that in a minute, but acting is basically one thing. Sanford Meisner, the great acting teacher, said that acting is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. Does that make sense? So really, what we're asking you to do is be a human. What would a human do in certain circumstances? How would a human react to a certain situation opposite a particular relationship? What does the human want? What is the human fighting to get? And so many of these questions are what I want to help you put into your internal, like, GPS, your maps, your Google Maps, right? Instead of, am I being a good actor, and watching myself on a camera going, do I look awkward doing this? What am I doing? I think this is getting boring. I should make a gesture, right? These are things that happen to us when we're on stage and we get nervous and we think that we're not enough. So in order to lose that or minimize that, we want to replace it with an actual job that you the actor has to do, or more importantly, you the character has to do. But before we get started, I want to know a little bit about you and what your experience has been in acting, and what you find are the biggest obstacles for you. For some of you, it's been, have you been in shows? Have you been in a play or a musical? And what do you love about acting? Or if you're someone who feels really uncomfortable, if it's one of your weaknesses in the SWOT, why is that? What do you feel is in your way there? I see here in the chat box, could you repeat the quote? Yes, Sanford Meisner said, acting is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. There we go. Oh, thank you. Somebody did that for me too. Wonderful. Thank you. Great. So if you please feel free to just start writing in and letting me know, what's your experience been? I've been in a few musicals before, but never gotten the opportunity to act on stage. Okay, good. Acting is allowing to become somebody for a moment. Correct. Now, here's the most important thing that I want to say. If you have been in a musical, then you were acting. There is no separation. the thing that is so magical to me about musicals, and of course it's my great passion, although I've done equal plays and musicals on Broadway and obviously non-singing things in film and TV, but the thing that is so magical about musicals is the synthesis, is all things coming together to make this magical whole, right? To create this piece where all cylinders are firing at once. And you cannot tell a story, you cannot sing a song without intention. I invite you to become the writers of the song. Sometimes you pick a song and think, okay, well, I picked this song because I think it would be really nice for my voice. How many people have done that? Raise your hand. Yeah. And that's fine, you know, that's initially what draws us to it, or the music draws us to it. But if we put ourselves in the shoes of the people who wrote the song, you can ask yourself, well, why did this song come into existence? Why was it important to write part of your world in The Little Mermaid for Ariel? That's a song a lot of us know. Why is that important? If I'm a writer, what do I want the audience to know? I want the audience to know that Ariel is happy but can never be satisfied in her own world, that she wants something outside of her world, that she does everything she can to get it. She collects items. She's only been able to get so far, and she can't really get past her main obstacle, which is that she lives under the sea, right? And that even in the dream, she is hoping it's a wish to get out and be part of another world. So this all of a sudden becomes the job of the artist to say, okay, well, what am I fighting for in this song? I'm fighting for a chance to be part of a world I've always dreamed about. Already, that now shifts your experience in the song, because you're no longer thinking about, does my voice sound good on this, right? You're really using the lyrics as tools. Okay, now that I've got some more in the chat, I'm going to take a look here. Good. I see people have had acting experience, which is great. When I read a script, I have no idea how to act that scene. Okay, good, good. We'll get to that. I love to make something clear and close to anybody. I feel like I struggle to be realistic in a certain play. Yes. For acting, to me, sometimes I'm shy, but sometimes I can play along. It's fun and a challenge. You're right. It's both fun and challenge. Okay, so I want to talk about the fact that, yes, we get a script and we have no idea what to do with it. So again, the main thing that I want to say before we even
Mau
start,
utarakan sebelum kita mulai adalah sebagai aktor, orang-orang yang memutuskan untuk melakukan pementasan, ini adalah bagian manis pahitnya. Kalau memilih untuk berada di panggung dengan posisi sebagai karakter, kita tidak boleh menjadi penonton. Maksudnya mengerti tidak? Kita tidak lagi bisa nonton dari luar. Kita tak lagi mengagumi karakter, mengagumi lagunya.
can't fan, the expression fangirl about it. We have to drop that, because if we're standing in the shoes of the character, the shoes are uncomfortable. That's why it's called a drama, right? Drama is conflict. Every story is about a conflict and the drama of working through that conflict, right? Nobody ever wrote a play called Everything's Fine starring Perfect. That would be so boring, and it would be over in 5 seconds, right? We actually go to the theater to see people struggle, right? So, so in that vein, how do we portray that struggle? Again, we have to get out of any idea of watching ourselves or thinking we're quote unquote realistic. These are things for your director to worry about, for your coach to worry about, like me. We get up and we work on some stuff. I'll be the one that says, okay, this is not necessarily reading true to me. Let me give you some tools to get to the authenticity of the situation. And the number one tool to find the truth and authenticity of any scene or any character is specificity. Being specific about who you are, who you're talking to, what you want, what is in your way of getting it, the circumstances of the situation, the relationship you have to the person you're talking to. All of these are the tools that will help you invest in the conflict and getting what you want, and therefore will, if you are pursuing those truthfully, if you are living truthfully under those imaginary circumstances, that is going to express itself as real and as authentic. So number one, get out of the audience. We understand that. You can't watch yourself and be in it at the same time. And as much as that sounds like obvious, it's really hard sometimes, especially if you're working on something that you've absolutely love and you're doing your dream role, right? I had an experience doing a play called Sunday in the Park with George, a Stephen Sondheim musical. It's my absolute favorite of all time. I loved it. I listened to it on repeat as a teenager, and I was lucky enough as an adult to play the role of Dot, which was a total dream role for me. But I realized, and it was originated and immortalized, in my opinion, by Bernadette Peters, who was one of my Broadway heroes. And I struggled as I was working on it, thinking, oh my gosh, I don't get to do what Bernadette does in this. Because if I come up here just trying to be a pale Bernadette imitation, it's a disservice to the play, right? They didn't hire a Bernadette carbon copy for this job. They hired me. So they must have seen something in me, even though I don't know what it is yet, by the way, right? And you don't have to either. You can trust the people who chose you. They must have seen something in me that is right for this. So now I go to the script. Now I go to the libretto. Now I look at the lyrics and I see, okay, who am I? What am I really trying to do in this play? But there were definitely moments for me that were sad because I thought, oh, if I'm really pursuing my objective in this play, I don't get to do like the Bernadette-ism that I loved imitating before. And you have to give that up, because then I found my own thing. And then my own thing shone more brightly in me than any kind of homage to Bernadette I could have done. Does that make sense to you all? Yeah. So, and that's not to say, we stand on the shoulders of the artists who came before us, and they deeply influence our being. That's not to say Bernadette didn't come through in subconscious ways, because she lives in me because I love her and I worshiped her. And anytime you spend 10,000 hours studying something, I don't know if you know that, it's from a book called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, but it takes 10,000 hours to achieve mastery, as according to Malcolm Gladwell in this book. And yeah, when I think about the hours I spent listening to Bernadette Peters or Stephen Sondheim or Patti LuPone, these were my heroes. I believe that the artistry of those people has sort of changed my own personal chemistry. And I have to trust that it's done it in ways that I don't have to put on. It's already in me. So I ask you to trust your love of this first. Okay? Trust the fact that you've spent a lot of time seeing theater, reading books about theater, reading plays, listening to cast albums. And if you haven't, or if this is about film as well, or television, what are your favorite movies? What are your favorite shows? How much time have you spent really watching what people do? That's part of the work, right? And as you start listening to things now, now you get to listen in a way that comes from a craftsperson's point of view, not necessarily sitting in the audience going, oh, I love that. So good, so enjoyable, right? Now you get to start watching it and thinking, okay, what is this actor doing? Look at how they're pursuing what they want. Look how they use their voice as an instrument to achieve their objective. This is a big thing with singing actors. We think it's all about the note. It's not. The composer put that word or that thought on a high note because it's the most important thought. And you have the most to lose when you have that thought. So that is what we pursue. The objective of every scene and every song is to know what you want and to get it or die trying. Does that make sense? You go down fighting the whole time. Again, there's no song that was written for the purpose of, I hope the singer just really judges themselves or falls in love with the way they sound. No writer ever wrote that song, right? Every song is a fight of sorts. Every monologue is a fight. You're grappling to get what you want. And again, you win or you die trying. Also, let me just check back in the chat with you all. Thank you. I see so much here. Great. Okay. Yeah, and it's okay to feel weak about it. Again, specificity is important here. So again, I'm going to ask why. If you want to write in the chat, oh, well, I feel like this is my weak thing. Why? How do you get uncomfortable? What prevents you from feeling like you know how to do this? And I really do love, thank you, the person who wrote in the chat. I get a scene that I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, that's okay. This is what we're here to talk about. Yes. Someone wrote, I'm sorry. Abigail, I performed in several local productions, including schools and university. It was an amazing experience to be able to perform on stage and getting all the energies from the fellow actors and audience. It's correct. I learned how actors can have a different interpretation and approach for portraying their character. Good. And this is true. There is no one way, right? We just talked about the Bernadette example. My weakness is that whenever I start to think too much, that I forget to be present in the moment. Yes. And this is what we do. We think, and we overthink, right? So let's use our brains to think about what we're fighting for, who we're talking to, what the relationship is, so that our brain is not too busy overthinking all the other stuff. Okay. Someone says, but the thing I struggle with is when, Giovanni, when I get zapped out of my character for a small moment. That happens. Don't sweat it too much, right? This is a muscle that you're building. You're building the ability to be able to step into someone else's shoes and pursue your objective. And there are moments where, like any muscle, maybe some of you can, but who can get down and do 50 push-ups right now perfectly, right? It takes, all of you could probably do it, but it takes building up to. It takes time. And I think that's also something that we are not willing to give sometimes, right? And I speak for myself. So, I know that this is going to take a while, but I'd rather just sort of read the scene and wing it, right? This is always something the human brain is going to try and do. This just sort of gets you out of the work, right? But it's the difference between fine and fantastic. It's the difference between good and excellent. And you want to be excellent, not perfect, by the way, because perfect is something else. I don't know what perfect is. It's a subjective term. And I think a lot of us fall into a pit of trying to be perfect. And that really gets in our way. What you're striving for is excellence, but you have to break down what excellence means. How did anyone follow the Olympics? When you see someone who is an excellent skater or an excellent skier, they're not out there just trying to be excellent. Do we understand that? Right? Every move has taken practice. Every muscle group has to be developed, and it's the same with that. So as far as like falling out of character for a moment or losing your way, these are muscles that need to be developed. It's not a problem that you have. Good. I think it's a challenge to balance a good performance at the same time feeling the Karen, Valerie, I'm not sure what you meant there. Challenge to balance a good performance at the same time feeling the performance. Again, my big thing is we want to pursue the character's job. We want to stay in the character's shoes. I tend to forget everything I learned in terms of technique when I get on stage. I tend to perform to the audience. They give me energy and make me forget the circumstances of my character. Okay, Tiara, thank you for saying that. Listen, we're human beings. We are subject to the excitement of other human beings looking at us and cheering for us. That's real. That's part of what this is. However, ultimately, this is a service industry. This is a craft of service. This is what I believe. We are not doing this to serve ourselves. We are doing this to serve the person who wrote the piece, right? What did the playwright and or composer or lyricist want to say when they wrote this? I'm here to be a vessel of that message. Also, we're in service to the audience. If I'm too busy up there sort of getting into how the audience makes me feel, I'm no longer doing it really for the audience. I have not held up their experience of it. The circumstances of the character are for them. Do we understand that? In what we do, especially in acting and the emotional work that comes with acting, I call it a service industry because also for the audience, if we're doing something very serious, a piece of material that is emotional and has a lot of conflict in it, perhaps we're there to reflect what the human experience is. And most likely there is someone in the audience who is going through something similar. And what we say as actors to them is, it's okay. I will hold this pain for the next 2 hours. I will go on this journey for this moment so that you can let go of your troubles and watch me struggle and win through mine. And that way you can be inspired, or you can watch me struggle and lose through mine and die trying, and you can have a catharsis about that, and you can weep and release whatever you're going through. This is part of our sacred agreement with an audience. We are willing to hold that. And if we're too busy with our own, do people like me? How am I doing? How's it going? How do I feel? Does this feel good? We can't be that. We can no longer be of service. So there is a discomfort because you are now in what I call the uncomfortable shoes of the character, but also it's actually so much more satisfying because you are out there pursuing an action, pursuing something that you want to do. Good. Let me know if there's any questions about that. Benita, what makes me uncomfortable thinking about how do we look while acting? Emotions I may already feel, but I don't know if it's already delivered through my expressions and body language. Once again, leave that in the hands of your director. Leave that in the hands of your coach. If you're working on something individually, on your own, enlist somebody to watch it for you, somebody you trust, somebody who you know is looking for the same things you are, which have to be specific. Are you fighting for something? Are you fully engaged? Not, was it good or was it not good? Specificity is the key here. Sarah, how can we connect or relate to the character or role we play? Because I believe every role needs some sort of connection to us before we act it out. Correct. The good news is we're all human beings, correct? So when we approach a role, if you're looking at a play, the big thing, this is why it's very important to, well, it's a must, it's non-negotiable. If you're doing a monologue from a play, you have to read the play, right? You can't just read the monologue and say, oh, I see what this is about, and I'm just going to do it. The play will give you all of the clues that you need. So if the play is about a woman who is pregnant, who has high hopes that her baby will be a violinist. I'm just thinking of random things. But for example, and you are a 16-year-old person who has never been pregnant before, right? You start to think about, well, what does that mean to this character? What does that mean to her? Okay, so she's pregnant. That means she has a lot of hope and expectation, right? Pregnancy is often called expecting, right? We have hope and expectation about the way the rest of her life is going to go, about a goal that she's always had about being a mother. There is always, with every dream, possibility of failure, right? So you start to boil down to the human essence what it is. Well, this woman is really hoping for something. And it's depending on what the play is about, it can be very uncertain, can be very precarious. So now I am delivering this monologue about being pregnant and how I have high hopes that my child will be this, while knowing something could go wrong, or my child could hate music and I want him to be a violinist like everyone in my family, right? You, as a 16-year-old person, know what it's like to hope for something and be scared it might not happen. That's the human resource that you have. You have a library of emotions inside of you that you can relate to, but it has to be boiled down to what is the essence of this monologue. So again, so if this is a monologue about a woman who is pregnant and hopes her son is, is hoping her son is a violinist, the essence of the monologue is hope. What does she want? She wants this pregnancy to be successful and for her child to turn out exactly the way she wanted, right? What are the obstacles of that? Well, sometimes pregnancies can go wrong, and most times kids don't turn out exactly the way their parents hoped they would, right? We all know, even in the best of situation with our parents, that they have certain expectations that some of us have decided, no, that's not really me, right? So we can relate to all of those things. Again, what do I want? What is in my way? What do I hope happens? What am I afraid will happen? What's at stake for me here? So again, you have the resource library of your human emotions. So I invite you, before you decide, I can't relate to this character, boil it down, boil it down. Something I like to use is, if I were describing this situation to a 7-year-old, how would I do that? So if we take the same pregnant violinist, I might say to a 7-year-old, this lady really wants to be a mom, and she's scared something might go wrong, but she really, 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 really hopes it happens the way she wanted it to. That's it. And so now, even you could relate to that. If you've broken it down for a 7-year-old, now you understand what this scene is about. Make sense? Good. And so, wait, let me just take another look. Thank you so much, all of you, for writing in. This is great. Yeah, what I'm seeing here a lot is I really try to do all of the things, but in the end, I get really worried about myself. And by the way, that is a part of it. That is a part of it. Especially whenever you're starting a new project, you're never not going to be a little bit worried that you're not doing it right. I think that's allowed. That's fair to say, right? I had the privilege of working with Steven Spielberg on West Side Story. Wow, I got to work with Steven Spielberg. Very exciting, but also scary. And West Side Story is a musical that I've done my whole life, pretty much. I mean, since I was old enough to play Maria, I played Maria for many, many years. And I ended up marrying my Tony, and I have a son who is half jet, half shark. Okay. So this has been a huge part of my life. I did the show for many, many years. And so you would think that getting to do the movie version for me would be easy, because this is a show I know inside out. Well, I've never done it as a movie. I've never worked with Steven Spielberg. I didn't know. I developed a reputation among my colleagues and directors here on Broadway, but not with one of the greatest film directors of all time. That's never been my focus. And getting on set was nerve-wracking. I was nervous. I was frightened that he wouldn't see me, or that he wouldn't see the work that I was trying to do. That is just going to be par for the course. The difference with experience that you get is, I don't give that little voice that says, "Are you good enough to be here?" I don't let them have the microphone anymore. I hear it and I say, "You can be here. I understand." In the end, this is a part of your brain. Fear is there to protect you. We've been wired for millions of years to have things that say danger approaching, to let us know you're in a precarious situation. But ultimately, it's the same mechanism that told me, like, a tiger is coming to eat you back, billions of years ago. So, I don't have to listen to that with those kinds of nerves and stakes. I accept that nervous voice will be there. And I say, okay, this is how it is every time I start a project, or every time I'm in a new environment. The "am I good enough" voice comes up. Great. Now I know I'm on
Cukup
track.
bagus nggak sih di sini?
The next step is the most critical.
Tapi langkah berikutnya adalah langkah yang terpenting, yakni saya pilih dengar suara kecil yang menyebalkan itu, atau saya kan mengerjakan tugas saya.
And it may feel like it takes you over. I can't stop listening to that voice. If you tell yourself, stop listening to the voice, what are you going to do? You're going to keep listening to the voice, right? But if you tell yourself, it's time to do the work. Who am I talking to in this scene? What do I want? What am I afraid I'm not going to get? Let me get into the fear of the character. I can work with that because I know it's temporary. I can get right in deep into the fear of that character, because deep down, my human self knows it'll be over. This danger will be over as soon as the scene is over. And that's the fun of acting, because then you can go all in, because on the other side you're going to come out. But as these thoughts come up that tell you, I don't know how I look, I'm afraid of how I'm doing this, I'm very insecure, just own it. Okay, I'm insecure, but I am going to get better. There is something, I think, especially in our culture today, because we have so much access at our fingertips to everything, information, our friends, Instagram, WhatsApp, whatever, right? Everything is instant, that we've lost a little bit of our muscle tone when it comes to process, not product, right? We all want to have the product. We all want to be a bright, shiny object right out of the gate. And yet, when a baby is born, we give them time to learn how to walk, right? We actually let them have that time because we know it's crucial for them to be able to do it and find their own way of doing it on their own. And we can coach them and we can hold their little hands as they take steps, right? But ultimately, we've got to give them the time to find their way to that. You know, same with how many of you swim. You remember learning to swim? You weren't perfect at it the minute you dove in the water. Same with riding a bike. This is the same. So know that if it feels awful, that's part of the deal and you will get past it. But it's going to take you investing in the work. And let's talk about what that is. Some of the questions, the detective work you have to do when you have a script. So the first thing you want to know is, first of all, what's the show? What are the circumstances of the play, right? What's the historical context? Does this take place in the 1950s? Does it take place in outer space in 2086? What are the circumstances, right? And what's the big message of the play? You read it, not looking for your lines. You just read the play. It's the first thing that you need to do, actually. And it's hard as actors. We want to go straight to our parts and look at how many lines we have and see, what we get to do. But really, you pull yourself out and you look at the whole play or musical and say, okay, what is this about, really? Right? And then we look at the scene, we read the scene or the monologue or the song. And every song is a scene, by the way. Some scenes are spoken, some scenes are sung. But honestly, every song is put there because we sing when when words can no longer express. Who has heard that before, right? When words can no longer do the job, we sing. But it's part of the same impulse, right? We don't act here, stop, and then start singing. It's just the next level of heightened emotion that now goes past a certain range in your voice, right? If you were standing next to a hot stove and you accidentally leaned back and put your hand on the stove, that would hurt, yes? And as your skin starts to sizzle, your body would go, ah! Your body would not say, oh, I want to scream, but I don't feel vocally right today. I don't have the note. When you decide that you don't really have it in the middle of the song, that's what you're doing. It's the same thing. Ultimately, the goal is to just because you have skill and muscle and practice underneath you, to let that sound come out of your body, right? That's what that expression is. So it's not like singing is an unnatural expression. We do it all the time when we yell, when we raise our voices because we're so upset. Singing. So that's the first thing to remember. It's not separate. Okay. So in the scene, we have an objective, which is what we want. What do we want from the person we're talking to? What do we want? Right. Let's take, since we're talking about West Side Story, let's take the balcony scene in West Side Story. Okay. And let's be Tony in West Side Story. Any ideas? Can anyone tell me in the chat what Tony wants in the balcony scene? What do you think he wants? He shows up. He's just met Maria at the dance at the gym. He goes all over town trying to find her. He shows up in the street underneath her apartment. Yes, he wants that. Thank you, Alicia. He wanted to run away with Amira, with Maria. Wow. He wanted to run away with Maria. Right. Tony wants Maria to run away with him, to be with Maria. Tony wants to have a new life with her. Right. Right. To get to know Maria, he wants to get Maria's love and affection. Right. He wanted to get to know more about Maria. Great, very clear, right? Because he was just getting to know her and was falling for her at the gym, and that was interrupted, right? So when somebody interrupts something you really want to be doing, it's frustrating, and you try and pick back up where you left off, right? So we know Tony's objective is now to be with Maria for the rest of the evening. Okay, the next thing is the obstacle. What's his obstacle? What is in the way of him getting what he wants? Okay, racial tension, yes. Bernardo, yeah, thank you for that. They're big picture questions and even more specific questions, right? So race is big but general. I like the answer, okay, Bernardo, because Bernardo is the head of the Jets, right? I mean, of the Sharks, excuse me. Bernardo's the head of the Sharks, and they are the enemies of the Jets, which Tony was the head of, right? So there is a big conflict there. She is the sister of the enemy, right? Because it's not just race, it's these gangs, right? Let's just get as specific as possible. So now, of all people, right? It's not like Maria is the sister of somebody who is remotely related to the Sharks. Sister of the head of the Sharks, right? Who are right, who are going head to head with the Jets. Good. So that's the obstacle. So we know that's a pretty big one. So now he's at the bottom of the balcony. That's his objective. That's the obstacle. So then we want to know, we know his relationship to Maria, right? What would we say? Can't really say love of his life yet, but what's the relationship here? Infatuation, 2 in a row. Nice. Oh my gosh, great. Crushes, admiration, love at first sight. Good. Love at first sight, right. And we can imagine that taking away if we had to demystify the magic of like love at first sight, what are some of the feelings of puppy love or crushes or love at first sight? Maria gave Tony hope. Yes, beautiful, Alicia. Yeah. Being around this person makes me feel hope. Being around this person, yes, Karina, it makes me have a new passion, curiosity, obsession. Interesting, right? So these are all now these things are getting really specific. So I, Tony, have met someone at a dance. I am curious about it. I am curious about this person. They give me hope. I definitely feel my chemistry changing when I'm around that person. I'm fascinated. She's so different from me, but I'm attracted to that. All of these words are really now getting very specific about his feelings. So we know what the relationship is. We know what the objective is. And we know what the obstacle is. What's at stake here? So if he pursues his objective, right, which means goes after what he wants, which is what we see him do. What's at stake here? What are the dangers of doing something like that? His relationship with Riff, with his best friend, is at stake. Yes, losing friends. What else? Heartbreak. His other relationships are at stake. And he's also endangering Maria in a way. Yeah. His life is at stake. Bernardo would kill him. Right. Potentially be killed or get into jail. So were these lighthearted stakes? Are these like no big deal? Yeah, his life. Now, so Tony makes a decision that although he is pursuing Maria because she has lit up something in him, a hope that he wasn't certain was there, but we start to know about in Something's Coming, right? We start to know that he's got some hope, but he can't really identify it. And Maria shows up and is a living reflection of that hope of I could have a better life. Infatuation, attraction, curiosity, passion. He goes to pursue her, even though she is Bernardo's sister. How about just beyond the apartment door? Who could walk out onto the fire escape at any moment? Mom, Dad, Bernardo, right? And there could be a lot of trouble. Anita. Yes. So, and the things that we said that were at stake were his safety, Maria's safety, and them ever being able to see each other again, right? Good. So Maria knows this, which is why she tells him to go away. Of course, we're also talking about Romeo and Juliet, right? She tells him to go away, and he has to use different tactics to get her to agree, right? So he's romantic, he's funny, he's bold. At one point he shouts down there and she has to go, shh, be quiet. Oh my gosh. He's daring. These are all different. He's humble. And also he's bold. He ends up just climbing up that balcony anyway. Right? So, maybe he wants to impress her with how quickly he can get up that balcony. So those are what are called tactics. Those are different things that you do, things that you try to do to the other person, to get a reaction out of the other person in order to achieve your goal, which is, I want Maria, yes, they want to start a new life together, but now let's get specific right now. I want Maria to let me up. I want to kiss her. Let's say that's the scene. That's what I want. And I'm down here and she's up there. How do I make that happen? And she's yelling at me not to come up. Do you understand? Great. I have a question in the chat. Jane, I have a question. How would we apply these questions to a solo scene? What are we, if we're talking, can you give me an example? Because most of the time, even when we're alone in a monologue, we're either talking to someone else, we are grappling with something within ourselves, or we're talking to God. Even a scene with no lines, if you can give me an example, that would be great. Because a scene isn't a scene if there isn't an objective, if there isn't a goal. Again, unless we are watching someone meditate, I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Oh, okay. Thank you, Kita. For example, Elphaba in Popular, she only has 2 lines. This is a great question. So lines are not your only participation in the scene. Lines are actually secondary to your most important participation in the whole scene, which is listening. If you are not listening to your partner, if you are not listening to the character's heart under the given circumstances, you're not in the scene. And if you have the most lines in the scene, that's when listening is even doubly important, because it means that you have to keep talking, because based on your listening to the other person's behaviors, you're not closer to what you want. Does that make sense? Every scene is about 2 people trying to get what they want, and then What does listening get us? If I know I want something from you and the obstacle is present, how will I know if I've gotten it? Any ideas? How will Tony know if he's getting closer or further away from kissing Maria? Right. Thank you. Thank you. Kizia? Tiara, by the reaction of the other person, by the other person's reaction. That is your key. Are you closer or further away from what you want? Right? So if you're body language, yes, good. So if you're so busy trying to get what you want and gauging how successful you are based on the other person's body language and listening to where they are and how they're looking at you, do you have time to be thinking about how pretty your voice is or how good your acting is? No, not if you're all in. So it seems like it seems like a lot of specific work, but ultimately it's the most free place you can be. Then it starts to get fun. Then you're Tony going, I will kiss her. What do I have to do? Right? I got to climb. I got to make her laugh. I got to scare her. I got to be really, really, really sweet. I have to beg. All these little things. What little things can I try? Right? I have to sneak. What other ways can I get what I want? Wait, she smiled. I think I can probably climb up another rung on this ladder. She's smiling at me. I think I can go a little further up. That's the scene. That's the fun. That's the joy of it. So, and again, do we understand what I say about if we're talking about wicked popular? Listening is the most important. Alphabet's the most important person in that scene, really, because how do we know whether Galinda's going to get to give her the makeover she wants to give her based on Alphabet's reaction? How's this landing on Alphabet? What does she think? What is she afraid of? How hard does Galinda have to fight to get what she wants? And that fight and her kind of nervous desperation during that fight, or her bossy, just her bossiness, her sassiness, all of those are tactics to get what she wants. And that's what we fall in love with in the audience. But rest assured that Kristen Chenoweth did not go up there thinking, I'm just going to be really funny and charming in this number. If that was her only goal, she would not have been successful. Make sense? Okay. I see this about experience for the entire show. I have no dialogue, just walk in from one side and exit on the other while sweeping the floor. But the audience said my appearance stealing the show. I have no idea what context that was in. I imagine because you crossed and had a job to do and had a focus. But remember that stealing the show is not about, and I don't think you intended this either, but it's not your job. It's the audience's job to decide whether someone steals the show or doesn't steal the show. You do your job, right? We are going to talk about audition in one of the next sessions. We're going to have an audition skills and strategies class that we'll get to more conversations about that. But Christina says, how can we improve our acting outside of class? Well, here's the best thing. Most of the time, when we are acting, we're playing humans, correct? And if we're not playing humans, we usually play animals or mythical characters that have human personalities, right? So the best thing you can do is go out in the world and observe human behavior. Next time you get into an argument with a sibling or a parent or your child, see if you can step outside and go, oh, I'm really fighting for what I want right now. See if you can observe that. Ooh, look how much I'm fighting You know, if I want to put my son in his pajamas and he's crying and making a fuss, I want him in these pajamas, right? That's my job. He's got to get in these pajamas. He's got to go to bed, because if he doesn't get a certain amount of hours of sleep, he's going to be cranky in the morning. He's not going to be able to concentrate in school. This is important to me. I want him in these pajamas because I want him to sleep, right? And my obstacle is that he does not want to be in the pajamas. Okay? And so I have to listen to his behavior and see what I can do. I'll be gentle putting the pajamas on. I'll make a joke while we put the pajamas on. I'll say, after the pajamas are on, maybe you can have a cookie before bed. Please put the pajamas on, right? It's drama, it's conflict. You're involved in a play right now. So that's my homework for you outside of class. Just start, or you might witness an argument or a struggle or whatever it is, and start to pay attention. Say, look what's happening here. Somebody is trying, they're pursuing what they want, they're pursuing what they want, they don't meet. How are they trying to get what they want? And just expose yourself to different situations. And also, as you watch some of scenes in your favorite movies, watch them through this lens so that you can start to see that. But it's more about improving your listening. Notice also how, when you are in interactions with other people, that you're not spending the whole time deciding how you will say the next thing you're going to say and how you're going to look like when you say it. You don't do that. Good. All right, coming back to Larissa, what method of differentiate your preparation process when you act in a musical versus a play? In the beginning, I have no difference. In the beginning, I want to know what the play is. I want to know what my role in it is, what I want as in the full course of the play, what I want in each scene. The next step is then looking at the music and looking at how the composer and lyricist help me with what's really magical about, again, I love the musical theater, and what's magical about putting a song in the middle of a scene or making the song part of the scene is that now the lyrics are the words we use, right? The melody sometimes is an indicator of our tactics, how hard we're willing to fight, which way we want to express ourselves. Are we aggressive with a big note? Are we quiet with a small note in order to get what we want? And often the accompaniment, if you listen to the music underneath, that is really telling you what the emotion is in the belly of the singer, character, not the actual actor, in the belly of the character. What's going on in there? Because of, I'll share with you something from In the Heights, okay? I don't know if you all know it, but there's a song called It Won't Be Long Now that Vanessa sings, right? And for those of you who know it, it has a, can you think of the little vamp that starts the song? Right? It's rapid. It has a sense of urgency. It's high. And part of it to me reminds me of a ticking clock of time passing. Time's running out. It gives you that feel if you think about it that way. And in the song, Vanessa is saying, I have this, I know who I am, and one day I'm going to achieve my goals. But you don't see her running out. You don't see her rushing to achieve those goals. Something's holding her back. And in the meantime, the music is telling you that time is passing and she knows it. That's the feeling in the belly. Yeah, someday I'm going to do it. One day I'm going to do it. One day I'm going to do it. Not ready today. Also, it sounds like nervousness. Ding, 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 right? Nerves. So all of the clues are there. But imagine if you don't go looking for them and you just come out and say, I'm just going to sing this song without knowing any of this. Yeah, that's really hard because you don't have any information to stand on. Now I'm telling you where to look. Another question from Crystalline, since I've heard you mentioned about how you should portray characters differently from the original actors. Yes. How do you find my own version? Okay. Thank you so much, Crystalline, for asking this about, I know I said, right, I don't want to do Bernadette's version of Sunday in the Park with George. That does not mean that I go home and create on paper what my version is. It really is just a matter of me releasing, having to imitate her. That's it. And then if I'm playing the scene truthfully under imaginary circumstances, if I'm using the tools, if I'm fighting for what I want, if I know what my obstacle is, if I know what the stakes are, if I'm using different tactics and listening to see if I'm further away or closer to my goal, my humanity, my fighting spirit is going to come through. And that is what's going to infuse this role with what Andrea has to bring to the table. I can't decide what it is ahead of time, because then I'm not really acting. So yeah, when I say make your own version, what I'm saying is trust yourself in the work. Do the pressure to come in and do something that is your own version of something that you've planned out is just as what am I going to say? It's not useful. It's just as not useful as imitating somebody else's performance. You don't want to imitate someone else's performance, and you certainly don't want to go out there and imitate what you think your new version is. Because how do you not know what your new version is? You're not in the audience, so you can't know anyway. Get out of the audience and do the work. The rest will follow, I promise. You do the work truthfully. People will start to say, I loved how I got so excited, I got so involved. Have you ever walked down the street and seen people like arguing and kind of slowed down to watch what was happening? Right? Why do we do that? Because we're drawn to that. We want to see what happens. We also want to witness human behavior in this elevated way. We do that. Even if we're scared, what's going on there? Oh, wow. And you're watching it. And a lot of times you're thinking, wow, the person is really screaming. What's the other person going to do? What's the listener going to do? So again, that's what we're looking to do. I hope that was helpful, Crystalline. Hi, Alicia. How can you focus on remembering your lines while also allowing yourself to feel free and relaxed on stage? The lines, again, you will find that the lines are your friends if you're pursuing what you want. It's much easier to memorize your lines. It's much easier to memorize then I'm coming up to the balcony just for a minute, he says, right? For an hour, forever. It's much easier to remember those lines if you think, oh, these are different ways of him trying to get what he wants. Yeah, he has that great line. He goes, just for a minute. It's one of the things he says. Really? 1 minute? But he'll take anything. Right? So again, these things aren't separate from you. They're all part of a whole. How can we balance between focusing on hitting every notes when we're singing and acting at the same time? You practice, you go to your voice lesson, you work with your coach, and you practice singing the music correctly. By the way, the other indicators for your objective and obstacle and tactics and emotion, look at exactly the way the song was written. Look at the note values. Why are some notes held longer than others? Notice the word that has been stressed in the music. Notice the dynamic markings. This is meant to be sung soft. This is meant to be sung loud. I wonder why. Because it's all written in the service of getting what you want. So when you go to your music lesson and review the song, that's the part where you have to get, in a way, I have an expression, go cold. Don't get caught up in the emotion. Don't think about anything. Do the math of it. Learn the melody. Learn the note values. Learn the rhythms. And practice them without thinking this has to be the Tony Award winning performance of your life. No. You practice them. You sing through. You go, okay, I'm running out of breath here in this particular passage, in this particular line. Well, maybe because I'm thinking too much about singing it. What does the line say? You know, there's only you tonight. What you are, what you do, what you say, right? Okay, that means she can't say enough about everything about him that she's been thinking about, right? So now all of a sudden, if you really want to express that, it's the hot stove idea. The voice will be there. Body doesn't lie. Good. How do you match your talking voice in the middle of the song? No Me Diga has a lot of it. It's all a scene. Don't think about it too deeply. It's elevated. If you're already in a elevated state singing, you're not going to go to talking like this in the middle of it. Right? You got to keep it loud and up, but still, it's you. It's just you on certain pitches and you on your own pitches sometimes. Have you ever had a really bad script? How did you deal with it as an actor? So here's the thing, you're going to have all kinds of scripts if you decide to go into this. And I've worked on scripts that I thought were not great. And I've worked on scripts that I thought were really not great and got so much better they became excellent. So playwrights also are allowed to have their process. And you can rest assured if it's a published play that's been around for a while, not every play gets published, period. And these writers worked for a long time on this play. So before you even decide anything is bad, quote unquote, have you read it and done all of this work on it? Right? I guarantee you the playwright spent a lot more time on this play than maybe you have, just sort of reading it and deciding it was bad. Take another look, see what's in there. Are there objectives? Are there obstacles? Is there drama? Is there conflict? Do we root for characters? And in that case, and in the case that you find that you don't see that, you do the best you can. And I'd work a lot on developing new plays. So if there's something that's unclear to me, and I know what my objective is, and I'm working opposite, I'm trying to get what I want from the other person, and there is maybe a couple of lines that don't seem to be, they seem to take like a left turn. They don't seem to be in alignment with that. I'll ask the director, what do you think the playwright intended with this? You know, it's okay to ask questions, but you ask questions from an informed place and from a problem-solving place. I think these lines are bad. I can't make them work. Right? Your job as an actor, again, is a job of service and of making yourself useful. But of course, you're allowed to say to the director, I don't see why this next set of lines does this. How does it match up with them trying to get what they want? Or are they trying to just change the subject and distract? That's another tactic. I'm going to distract the person that I was putting the pressure on to relax them a little bit so I can come back. But these are questions you can ask. You can ask your director. And in developing new plays, I often ask the playwright, well, what did you mean by this? What is your intention? And it's a great question because it also forces them to go, yeah, what was I trying to say with this? Okay. And if they say, oh, maybe I wasn't clear on that, I'll get back to you, or I'll rewrite it, or, oh no, it's this. And then I say, thank you, I didn't see that. Great. Hope that's helpful. Next question, like, have you ever attached too much to your own character, even in real life, that you need time to learn and explore your new character? I'm not sure I understand that question, Monde. Have you ever attached too much to your own character?
Andrea, if I might help.
Yeah. Yes,
maybe
please.
it's because some actors sometimes get too much into their characters and it's hard to separate their real personality with the character they're playing.
Okay. Okay. Ultimately, remember, this is the safest and best way to do this job is to have boundaries. And so you get to decide where those are. Clearly, if rehearsal ends at 6:00 p.m., you're off the clock. Does that mean you won't have dreams about it when you sleep at night? Of course not. I do. Or that you won't have ideas that come to you. But it's very important to draw boundary lines for yourself, because it will get away from you. It's like being you always want to be driving the car. And if you feel that you get so lost or attached to a character that you can't come back, in a way, it's like falling asleep at the wheel. So I think the most useful way to do that would be, again, to have boundaries, to say at 6:00 or at the end of rehearsal, for the next, maybe I want to do homework on this tonight, but for the next couple of hours, I'm going to go to dinner. I'm going to relax with my friends. I'm going to call my mother. I'm going to just put myself in another state for a little while. And it's actually good for you, because it gives again, remember I said about the 50 push-ups? If you take breaks in the push-ups, it gives your muscles a chance to relax a little bit and then be stronger the next time. You need the breaks. For example, I'm married to a wonderful stage director, and we have worked together on plays, but we do have a rule that we work very well together in the rehearsal room. But we have a rule that when we come home, we don't talk about the play anymore, because it's important to our marriage to actually remember we're people outside of the play. And it's important to the rehearsal process that my mind gets a break from the work and from what he's doing with the work or how he's handling. It's not good for either of us to keep it going the whole time. The healthiest thing to do is to draw some boundaries. Great, and thank you for explaining that, Rock. I appreciate that. Can we develop connection or chemistry to all actors as they're our counterpartner? Are there certain actors that are easier to connect with? Yes. Yes, friends, there will be actors that are easier to connect with than others. That's just a reality. But remember, you are a vessel, right? In a way, my job is to take as much Andrea out of the room as possible when I'm in the scene, and just say, okay, but my job is to find the connection to the person. If you're cast opposite somebody you hate, that's chemistry. They obviously bring up a feeling in you, right? Like, it's just interesting. Just what if that's useful, right? Not that any of us walk around hating people, but if you have something you're like, oh, we just can't get, that's interesting. Maybe there's something about that that's useful here. But yeah, I would say always approach it optimistically. How can I use this? How can I use this? And again, this goes back to Monday's question. If I'm in the scene and I take Andrea out as much as possible and I put Maria in as much as possible, then I can play the scene. But then I really need Andrea back after 6:00. Does that make sense? Good. This is Sarah, advice for someone who just started acting. Start being aware of the way people talk to each other. Start being aware of the way humans interact with each other, right? And most importantly, get out of the audience. That's really the thing. But what I'd like to do now, I don't know if anybody brought monologues, is prepared with a monologue, but I'd like to be doing that in the next session, or if anybody has something today, I'm happy to look at it. Did anybody bring a monologue today?
Anybody want to try? You can raise your hands.
No pressure, because what we'll do instead, if you don't have a full monologue, is why don't we do an exercise where everyone can do the first line of either a monologue, a scene, or a song, but you're going to speak it. You're not going to sing it. Okay. And one at a time, we're going to get up here and just talk through that based on some of the things that we spoke about. Sound good? Okay. So whoever's ready, whoever is ready to come up and work first. And remember, and I also want to explain that, not explain, just confirm that this is a safe space, right? This is me offering tools and alternatives to you for you to use in your process. This is not about performance. I'm not here to decide who's talented, who's not talented. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to give you tools so that when you go out into the world and are working on shows or auditions, you have tools for your process. Okay, Roanna. Yes. Okay, so Roanna's going to come up, and Andrew, I'd like to do the monologue live. I'd prefer to do that if you want to work, as opposed to
any kind of monologue,
watching a video. I'm sorry?
Any kind of monologue that I remember. Is it okay?
Yeah. As long as you know, do you know the play, the circumstances of the play and who you're talking to? Or is it just a speech that you just remembered? And who's there? I'm looking. I have to put speaker view on. Sorry, I can't see. Oh, here you are, Roanna. Sorry. I was just hearing your voice. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so you're going to do the one line, or you're going to do the monologue?
I think one line.
Okay. That's fine. Let's do the one line.
Okay.
Great. What can you tell me about this monologue?
Okay, actually, I wanna try a chorus line. I can do that part of a mic. Actually, it's
okay.
Is it okay?
Okay, great. So what do we know about Mike?
Mike is a performer that he is one of the participants of the chorus line. He joined the audition, and he now on the of the audition after the dance, and then now he is asked by Zach, the director, about his personal life, and he is telling the story how he began to learn dance.
Great, thank you. What do we? You know the song, right? You know all the words to the song in your head?
Yes.
Great. So what do we learn in the song? Actually, it's in the first line. So I'm going to let you do the first line, and then we'll talk about that. Okay. So
can I just pick the monologue and not singing it? Is it okay?
Yes. Yes. I want you to just speak it. I don't want you to sing it.
Okay. I'm watching Sis go Peter Pan. said, I can do that. I can do that.
Good.
Yes.
Good. I didn't know if you wanted to go on or not. Okay, great. Thank you for being first, Rana. Woohoo!
Yeah, thank you.
What does pitter pat mean?
Peter Pat means okay. Peter Pat means happy, kind like that.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you. The audio got bad for a minute. It means what?
Okay. Peter Pat, like cheering up, like happy, cheering up, happy. What is it? Cheering up her sister. He's like clapping. Is it
Okay,
like that?
so it's not. So, but let me help you out here. That's okay. No, it's okay. Actually, I love, thank you for being an example of this. Often we do a song and we just know it with the music and we don't necessarily know what the word means. And
Yes.
so, and did you come up with the cheering up and applause by yourself, or did you ask somebody about that?
Actually,
You just came up with it yourself. Yeah, that's okay.
I just guessing, and then I look for the translation.
And I understand it, especially having to translate it. It's complicated because it's a very it's part of a, you know, like a slang colloquialism. But what pitter pat,
Okay.
actually, there is a pitter pat is the sound of like steps,
Oh, okay.
like footsteps. Okay. And the reason I'm sharing with you is, and thank you for being an example of this. It's so important to know exactly what the words are saying. So if there is something that you think, I don't really know what that means, but I think I do, I encourage you all to look it up, speak to someone who maybe you know, understands English a little bit better, and find out, because that's useful information for you. So now, what does it mean? What does the line mean if you know, your character is saying, I'm watching sis go pitter pat, meaning step, step, step. What is she doing?
She's dancing.
Yes, yes. And so then reacting to, I'm watching sis dancing, and then what do you say?
I can do that. I can do that dancing. I can do that stuff.
Right, right. And we learn from the song that Mike's watching his sister, who is really, really good at, you know, he's the little brother, I think, right? And he feels like he's just sitting there on the side and has to watch, but he feels like he has it in him to do it, right?
Yes.
Now, in the context
Yes.
of this play, you're telling a director that you're auditioning for, right?
Yes.
Right? So Zach, you don't have the job. It's not a rehearsal. It's an audition, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And he asks you what your, why did you start dancing? That's the question that's been asked to everybody in the audition. And everyone's answer is pretty much what makes up this play, right?
Mm.
So what do you want? What does Mike want in the play?
The perspective is I want to pass the audition. I want to show that I am capable, that I am worth it. I am the one that he is looking for, that I am a dancer since I was born. Like that.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you want that job.
Yes.
Right? And so
yes.
You're telling him basically, since you were very little, you knew you've had this in you, right?
Yes.
So now let's do the line again and think about saying to using this story to tell the director, I'm the best one for the job.
Okay. I'm watching sis go Peter Pat. Said, I can do that. I can do that.
Good, good.
Yep.
Can you keep going? Can you keep going?
Okay, okay. Sorry, I forgot the line. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, okay. I can do that. Knew every step right off the bat. Said, I can do that. I can do that.
Good, great. Actually, great. I want to stop you for a second. Very well done. Good job. So
thank you.
now, do you know the melody of how it's you know what it sounds like as a song, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we think about I can do that, can you tell me the rhythm? Now, can you say it in the rhythm it was written? I'm watching sis go pitta pat like that.
Sis go pitta pat. Say, I can do that. I can do that.
Great. Now when you did it this time, what is the stressed word when you sing the title of the song?
Do.
Tell me what the stress word is. I can do that.
Oh, I can.
I can do that.
Can.
Not can, because that would be I can do that. I can do that.
Oh, I can do that. That. Is it?
Hold on. No, it's I. It's I.
Oh, I.
Can you hear?
Oh,
Look.
okay. And
just listen. No, it's okay. Let's just break it down. Here, let's hear it. I can do that.
I can do that. I can do that. I can. Oh. Oh yeah. I got a point.
You've got it. I have no I have no worries about you being able to do it or sing it, but I want to point out to you that if I can do that, if I is the most important word in the syllable, in the sentence, if that's what the composer musically told us, what does that, there's a difference between saying, I can do that, as opposed to, I cannot do that. But if you say, I can do that, as opposed to, maybe everybody else can't, but I can. Do you understand?
Yes.
So if you say it, we're still going to say it, but I want you to stress the I and notice how that aligns with you getting what you want, with you getting the job over this guy and this guy.
Shall we try again?
Yes, please. Yes, just that first line. Actually, take it to the first two sections of I can do that. Please.
I'm watching sis go Peter Pat. Said, I can do that. I can do that.
I can do that.
I can do that.
Yes.
You ever step right on the bed, say, I can do that. I can do that.
Good. Do you feel the difference? Do you feel the difference when you say, I can do that?
Yes, I can. It means the one that's important.
Yeah, it's the one that's important because you are selling yourself to Zach. It's the important point in this situation. If you were singing a song about someone who broke their leg and now they can dance, you might say, I can do that. I can do that. You right? But that's not what this song is about. The composer put the stress on I because ultimately we're all standing on this chorus line, and I want you to know that I can do it. I can do anything. I can do that. I watch my sister, I watch anybody, I can do it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
And I so admire you for understanding this in a different language, because it's complex, but it makes a difference. Yeah. Go ahead, Roanna. Ask me.
Can I get so when we find out where is the stress of the song, like the what is the super objective should be relates to that I, to what is the stress point of the song.
Yes, I mean, ultimately, yes, I think ultimately the super objective is cast me. Give me the part.
Okay.
I can do it. Right? But it's just, this is just a way in to start realizing how the rhythms and the music serve your objective. This doesn't mean that I guess what I want to say is be careful of then saying, okay, so this is all I'm doing the whole time, right? My super objective is only this and it's inflexible, right? I still want you to be a human.
Yeah, I see.
Right? Yeah. Now, could you try singing it without accompaniment, just with the melody? Okay. It's not about, I'm not worried about your voice. I want you to just, because you know that I think scene and song are the same thing, just use it to, like it's a scene. Use the notes to get Zach to hire you.
Okay. I'm watching this God Peter Pan said, I can do that. I can do that. Knew every step right off the bat. Said, I can do that. I can do that. One morning sis want to go to dance class. Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay. I was loving it. Okay. Yeah. Actually, take it from one morning sis won't go to dance class. Keep going and use this as a monologue. Yes, I want you to sing it, but use this as what you're trying to say, right?
One morning sis won't go to dance class. I grabbed her shoes and stopped and ties and all, but my foot too small, so I forget.
I stuff her shoes with extra socks.
I stuff her shoes with extra socks. Run 7 blocks in nothing flat. Hell, I can do that. I can do that.
Beautiful. That's great. That's great work. Do you feel now how the energy of it?
Yes, it's easier to become.
It's easier because you're trying to get something. Right. And you're trying to get what you want. What we also learned about Mike during this is Mike says, not only that, I can do it when I'm prepared. I can do it when my foot doesn't even fit in the shoe. Right? Mike is telling us all the reasons he should be hired. Right? So you can own this. But let me just ask you, Rana, what makes it easier? I want to hear from you specifically. What made that easier?
Because I find that I is the one that I want to talk about. I want to tell people about myself. I want to show you the me, the I, what
I can do, I am better.
That I can do anything, that I can do anything to get this job. I can do whatever you want me. I am a talented. I have the capability. I am a hardworking, and I will do anything, and it will be successful with me.
Yes, great. And also, just to add one more element to this, all of those things that you said are true. Remember, an audition, you are competing, right?
Yes.
So it's not just about passing the audition. It's about getting the spot that instead of them or them.
Yes.
Oh, you need someone? I'm the person. I can do it. I can do it in bad shoes. I could do it in, at the last minute. Yes. I can do it. Can they do that? I don't think so. I can. I can, right?
Yeah.
Even though you're telling a story about growing up in childhood, that's the super objective. That's fantastic work, Roanna. What a pleasure to work with you. Thank you. That was really, really good. That was really good. I want to, while we have a little time, I want to give somebody else a shot. But this is beautiful. Thank you all for supporting Roanna so much in the chat. It's wonderful. You see how we're starting to, and again, how did we come to I can do that, right? How did we come to stressing the I? It's not some magical knowledge that I have. You go to the music and you say, okay, well, how is it musically? What's the rhythm, right? How did the composer write it? If they say, I can do that, again, that would be for somebody who maybe didn't think they could before. Now they can. There's intention behind all of it. Anybody else want to give a shot?
We have quite a lot of people raising their hands now. Thank you, Rohanna, for being the first and giving everyone like, I can do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because in Zoom, we have the people who raise their hands in order. Maybe for the second person, we just go in order. Andrea, like who raised their second hand. Oh, no, I have it, but is that
do you
how
have
do you
it
want to
actually?
do it?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, if do you want to do it by order of who raised their hands? Or
I'm going to leave you in charge of whoever. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then here I have Nur Rizky Ramadhani, I think.
Hello, Nur.
Hello. Actually, could I ask a little bit? I'm not even in musical, so I thought, could it be only a monologue?
Of course. Yes.
So it could be any monologue or.
Yes. I just want, let's talk about the first line of your monologue and what it's from and what the circumstances are.
Actually, it's when I was in bachelor degree, I have like a theater performance. I've gone with the wind, and I ever act as Scarlett O'Hara. So, but using this hijab, so yeah, and so this Scarlett O'Hara is like a girl or a woman who are really brave, but she's like pure, and sometimes she still listening to her ego, but into the end of her life, she became brave again, and she wants to help her home, her parents, to never be hungry again, and to raise their energy, and to grow as an adult and help her parents, like that.
Okay, where are you doing the first line of this monologue?
Can you repeat?
Will you be doing the first line of this monologue?
Yes.
Okay, great. And she is this the monologue that ends with "I'll never go hungry again"?
It should actually, it has like several sentences, several lines. So, but it starts with "as God is my witness."
Yes, but okay, so that's fine. I know I'm familiar with Gone with the Wind, and so, but the question is, what are the circumstances in which she's saying this specifically?
Like, she's in the middle of wanting to give up, and then but she wants to be brave. She wants to help her parents. Yeah.
Good. Is she, let's specifically give up, because why? What causes her to want to give up? She was a very wealthy young woman, right?
Yes. Because of like there's war. And then like the plantation and everything owned by her family is gone. So everything is burned. So she wants to be brave and wants to like raise help her parents, help the home, and raise.
Yes, but also this is what is also important when we're looking at
Yes.
playing humans. Ultimately, yes, some of the things they say they're inspiring, but they're doing this to pull themselves up out of very, very bad circumstances, right?
Yes. Yes.
I think she does this after she hasn't eaten in days, I think. And if I'm correct, she finds like a carrot in the ground.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yes. And I think because she hasn't eaten, I think maybe it makes her sick. And so these are because she hasn't eaten, she doesn't, her home is burnt down to the ground. And ultimately, and she has had a speech about how difficult it is, but
Yes.
ultimately she makes the decision that she is not going to be beaten by it, right? And that comes not out of, some of it comes from hope, but it's a fight.
Yes.
Right? So, again, I just want to ask you questions. So, as compared to other people around you who are starving because of the war, why should it be different for you?
Why? Can you repeat?
For Scarlett, why does she, what does she have to pull up in her bravery to say this? I mean, I guess what I'm saying is she is a woman who grew up in great privilege, and now she's in total disaster. And this is a refusal to go through, she hit her breaking point, right? So isn't "as God is my witness" the last line in this?
No, it's not. It's the first, and then the last one is "as God is my witness, I'll never be hungry again."
That's what I thought. Okay, so you're going to do the first line, which is not that, right?
Okay.
Let's see the first line.
I start now.
Yes.
Okay. As God is my witness. Oh, God is my witness. They are not going to leave me anymore. I'm going through this. And when I'm done, I'll never be hungry again. Yes. I think there will be another word, but
okay, that's enough. That's enough. Well done. Good job. That's enough. Good. So that was beautiful. I have a sneaking suspicion that, or at least I want to help you get a little bit out of the audience, right?
Okay.
Because Noor, the actor, finds Scarlett O'Hara inspiring at this moment, right? Do you feel like she's being brave and inspiring?
Yes.
Right. But the people who are inspiring and brave don't necessarily, they don't know they're being so, right? Yeah. Like in a way, right? If you're starving and you have, I bring this again, the way we spoke about like bringing this to something that would be relatable or maybe even a little bit easier to understand. So you've never been a Southern Belle in the right, right, in the United States, in the deep South, and all this stuff. Fine, during a war. Now, this doesn't speak to your personal experience, but for example, if we even look at what somebody asked me, what it takes to be a good actor. If you look at, you're observing the world. So if we look at what some of the horrors that we're seeing in the Ukraine right now, we're seeing people who had homes and computers and lives and that look just like ours, and now they're hiding in basements just trying to stay alive. And that's something although we are not in the middle of that war, you can relate to, because 3 weeks ago they were exactly like us, right? What would it be like if you had to be living in the subways for 3 weeks and not have water and not have heat and not have air, right? This is the place that Scarlett is coming from, so that when she decides, it's not she's going to get out of here against all hope, because how is she going to do it? It has to be that she is fighting with all of her might to do it. I don't think she sees there's no joyful inspiration in her that emboldens her, right? So I want you to take it again from the beginning, go do as much as you did, but at the beginning, I want you to add the lines, no, 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 no more. And I want you to really fight. I want you to imagine yourself in a situation. If the Ukraine image helps you, imagine your whole life changing overnight and losing everything, right? And getting to the point where you can't take it anymore. So I want you to fight. And even if it is to God, no, 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 I refuse this. I do not accept this. You can yell to the skies. You can yell to God. No, this must change. Okay? Whenever you're ready.
I'll start again.
Start again and say no, 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 and be brave, and don't be afraid to be mean. Fight.
No. No. Not anymore. As God is my witness. As God is my witness. They are not going to leave me anymore. I'm going through this. When it's all over again, I'll never be hungry again. No. No more.
Good. How'd that feel, Nora?
Better.
Better.
I'm thinking of what you just told. Just say it.
Of course. I want to, and we'll work again. We're going to have to wrap up now, but I want to take the pressure off of you having to be. Don't think you have to act. Right? No acting. I can see you going, that's not something, that's something that you're putting on that you think would be appropriate, right? What's your behavior? I want you to work on this and just practice. Imagine, if you are imagining your circumstance as something you really, really don't want to be in, and you just fight really hard to get out. No, 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 right? I don't need to see. You don't have to act on top of it. I think what you have going on inside, Nora, is really interesting. Don't worry about affecting it with acting.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. I think, Raka, I know I've gone over time, so I apologize.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, but I want you to think about that and practice it. Maybe we'll have another look at it next time I'm back, okay? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're so welcome. And thank you. Thank you for being brave and putting your heart out here. Let's hear it for Roanna and for Noor, who did great jumping in. And we'll do more of this the next time we meet. Yes, the rest of you will have chances to do this. We can go,
Thank you so much, Andrea. Anything you want to say before I do my closing stuff?
Just thank you. Thank you. I want you to just start, before I see you again, I want you to start thinking about observing the world, observing circumstances, and observing how humans really behave. And yeah, we'll get started. We'll do more of this next time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrea. If you love the session, please clap your hands. Yay. Oh my God, that was amazing. So thank you so much once again. And for those of you who have raised your hand, thank you so much for your enthusiasm. Unfortunately, we do have limitations on time, but we still have more sessions with Andrea. So keep that fire burning in you for the next session and prepare your monologue to give. Andrea have given some tips to Rohana and also Noor, so you can also apply those tips to your performance. All right. So first of all, we do have the presence form shared by our admin on the chat. So please fill it so we know that you attended this class. And our next session will be for acting, I mean, will be on, hold on, I'll open the schedule, on the 30th of March. So we have a slight change. Previously, it was on Thursday, the 31st of March. But please make note that the upcoming session have been moved due to some scheduling changes. So I will also announce it on the group so you can better remember it. And tomorrow we have the first singing group session with Carla. And the day after, on Saturday, we have the one-on-one singing workshop with Carla as well. If you have any suggestions, input, or feedback about this class, please reach out to me or the administration team, and we will try to improve the next session for you as well. So I think that's it. But before we go, we are going to take a picture. May I please hand it over to the admin?
Okay, guys, before we finish the session, let's take a picture together. If you can open your camera, please do so. Okay, I'll give you some time to, smile and get ready. Okay, so everyone ready? 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, again, 3, 2, 1, smile. And okay, we have a few pages here, so I'll just screenshot it.
Hold your best smile, everyone.
Yes. All right, I'm done.
So I think that's it, Nabila.
Yes, once again, thank you so much, Andrea, for today's very insightful class. And thank you everyone for joining today's class. So I hope you guys have a nice day. Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you in the
Bye.
next class. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so
Andrea, thank
much,
you.
Andrea.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Bye.
so much,
Thank you,
Andrea and
Andrea.
JPAC team.
Much, Andrea.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you
See you
so
soon.
much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Have a good rest, everyone.